can we take the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Ready to go? Okay.
Yeah.
So what should be the criteria of selecting CA firm for doing articleship? Like
All right.
that
Yeah.
is, अगर हमें AIR के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है तो
Hmm.
हमें मीडियोकर फर्म लेना चाहिए या फिर हमें बिग फोर से लेना चाहिए क्योंकि वो बाद में रेज्यूमे को बूस्ट अप करता है.
I think this like lot of differing viewpoints you'll get on this particular topic. Now, my viewpoint over here would be that it's not that if you are in a mid-sized firm, you won't like you will get a rank, and if you are in a big four firm, you won't get a rank. Like my personal opinion for joining a mid-sized firm, as I've told you, was that I wanted to have an overall exposure. So the first criteria which I had kept in my mind was that I wanted to have an overall exposure of all the departments, and I also had to prepare. I also had to prepare for my CA finals as well. So these were the two major reasons I had joined a mid-sized firm. Regarding the question that what should be the criteria, now there are two particular scenarios. So if you really want to get into CA practice in the future, I would recommend all of you to join a mediocre firm, because in a mid-sized firm, you will get an overall exposure of all the departments. And if you want to have your own practice in the future, you really need to understand almost all the nitty-gritties of what a chartered accountant does and how a CA firm works. So this is of utmost importance if you really want to get into practice. However, if you're sure and if you're keen that you want to pursue job in the future, then I think you can go for a big four, because in order to get in order to get into a job in the future, big four tag would add more value as compared to a mid-sized tag. So I would be of the view that if you want to go for a job, join a big four firm. And it's not that even if you join a big four, you won't get a rank. I know many of my friends who got a rank despite the fact that they were in a big four. So I understand that like there's some time issues which happen. If you're in a big four, you might be having a lot of hectic schedule. But at the same time, in a big four, the leave period is much higher as compared to a mid-sized firm. I had got a leave period of only 4 months, whereas my other friends who were in big four, they had got a minimum leave period of 5 months, and there were some of them who had got a leave period of 6 months as well for their CA final preparation. So that adds an advantage because they have a higher leave period and it is closer to the CA final examination, and the closer the better, and therefore they were able to score ranks in their CA finals as well. So this would be the crux, that if you want to go for practice, go for a mediocre firm. If you want to have an overall exposure of all the departments, go for a mid-sized firm itself. If you want to have a corporate exposure, or if you want to go for a job in the future, then join a big four.
This clears a lot of questions regarding this. Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, the next is how to manage studies along with articleship. It is very difficult and like कैसे काम को और पढ़ाई को बैलेंसली करें कि AIR भी स्कोर करें और काम भी अच्छे से सीखें.
Right. So in this particular, in this particular question, my take would be that you should just like focus more on your work in the first year of articleship. Now, understand this particular thing. During your first year of articleship, you have to focus completely on work, because your CA final is almost 2 years ahead of you. And I think that if you focus more on work during your first year of articleship itself, this would add an advantage over your profile, because you have had the practical exposure in the first year of articleship itself. So during the first year of articleship, try to ensure that you're working very hard. If you want to sit late night, like if you want to work very hard, then you should do it in the first year of articleship itself. So there is no question of balancing your academics and professional life in the first year, because as I've told you, you have to join classes 2 years prior to your attempt. Now, when your classes are on and at the same time articleship is going on, this time you'll have to make some compromise for your work. So you'll have to ensure that you go for your classes in the morning, 7 to 10, whatever are the timings, and immediately you have to go to your office. Now understand one thing, for those of you who are in mid-sized firm, as I was in the mid-sized firm, try to revise the entire content which has been taught in the class on the same day itself. It is going to add an edge in terms of revising in the last 4 months. However, if you are in a big four, I think that you wouldn't get a lot of time to revise the entire content. What you can additionally do is that over the weekend, when you don't have your offices, because Saturdays and Sundays are off if you're working in a big four, you can revise whatever is taught in the last 5 days over those 2 days of Saturdays and Sundays. So with this attitude, you can cover the entire content which has been taught in your classes. And if you just cover all the content which has been taught in your classes over the weekend, this is going to help you in terms of memorizing and revising during the last 4 months. Trust me, this is going to add an edge over other candidates, because I had revised 3 subjects parallelly with my classes and I did not revise 5 subjects. And I personally realized that those 3 subjects which I had revised during my classes, those were very quick and very fast for me to revise them during my leave period as compared to the other 5 subjects. So I think this is how you should balance your academic and professional life. And during the last year of articleship, when your exams are approaching nearby, I think you'll have to compromise on your work because you'll have to focus more on your academics because that is also going to matter. And your rank in CA final is definitely going to transform your life completely in terms of the opportunities which you are going to get as compared to a candidate who couldn't get a rank in his CA finals.
Okay, so you have to, like a student should include his revision along with classes hand in hand,
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
this will help in scoring an AIR, right?
right,
Along
right.
with the articleship. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Radhika, your voice is not audible. Could you
Okay.
just speak a little louder?
Okay. 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 Sorry.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the student should revise along with the classes
Yes,
in order to score an AIR, right?
yes.
Yes, yes. How to revise the entire course after completing all the classes?
So after completing all the classes, I think that you would go in your leave period itself. You wouldn't have time. I am not sure that you would have time before your leave period because that was the case with me. Now, once you enter your leave period, you'll have to revise all the subjects from scratch. Now, personally speaking, I had revised all the subjects from the reference books from the class notes which I had referred. And after I had read all the class notes, I had completely switched my focus to the modules. What I used to do, for example, the subject like financial reporting, I had just referred all the class notes, whatever were taught in the class, I had referred the class sums, and parallelly, I used to read the same chapter from the module itself because I know that module is a Bible and nothing is going to be asked outside this module, from outside the module. So I had read the modules after my class notes were done, and I had completely eliminated the class notes once I read the modules itself. So I understood all the concepts. If I could get stuck up somewhere, then only I used to refer the class notes back. But then I only referred the modules during my second reading as well, and during the last 1.5 days as well. So regarding the preparation of covering the entire syllabus in the last 4 months, I would be I would be of the view that you should focus more on modules. So first, finish off with your class notes if you've joined any class. Shift your focus to the modules and ensure that you only rely on this particular module to cover the entire content. So speaking about the 4 month strategy, I think you should revise it in the same order of the group wise. So I had taken FR and audit, one theory and one practical subject. Then I had taken SFM and law. Then I had taken costing and DT and risk management and IDT. This was the order which I had followed in terms of revising the entire content in the last 4 months. So during the first 3 months, I had done the first reading from the modules and the class notes. And during the last month of October, I had revised the modules itself. And I used to revise 4 days or 5 days per subject in the reverse order. So this was the strategy in terms of revising the entire content.
What should be the criteria of selecting elective subject? Another new change.
Yeah.
So, how should we decide that which should be the ideal elective subject that will help us first in our career and second for scoring an AR? Which will be the best?
Yeah. So first, in terms of your career, if you're interested towards core finance, you can opt for FSCM or you can opt for RM. So capital markets or risk management. The main reason I had chosen risk management was that my interest is inclined towards finance, and risk management is the only subject which contains almost 15 to 20 marks of practical questions, as unlike the other subjects which do not contain practical portion. So if you go for FSCM or economic law, that is completely theoretical. And that was the reason I had chosen risk management because I like to solve sums rather than just reading the theory and writing them in the examination. If you are interested to pursue ACCA in the future, like that is the CA of the United Kingdom, then I think you can go for GFRS. So GFRS is going to cover almost all the IFRS which are accepted globally. Apart from this, if you are interested towards law, so if you want to end up in practicing law or if you want to pursue LLB in the future, then I think corporate and economic law would be a good option for you because there are a lot of laws which are similar to the main law paper as well. And I think if you want to pursue law, then that would be the best option for you. If you want to go into practice into international taxation, so if you are doing an articleship in international taxation or transfer pricing, then I think international taxation would be a good option for you. But beware of the fact that international taxation is very lengthy. Even if the DT paper is right subsequent to the international tax paper, it does not mean that you are going to get an advantage because since the last two attempts, international taxation paper has been of 40 pages. So like you would be shocked to hear this that 40 pages you have to read first and then you have to understand and write it in your examination. Like none of my friend could complete the entire 100 marks because it was so lengthy. And therefore, international tax, I would be of the view that you shouldn't go for international tax in terms of scoring perspective. So in terms of scoring, I think risk management is the most scoring because it is only a 200 pages module. So 200 pages, you can read it in 2 or 3 days maximum. That is so small. So risk management is the most scoring according to me. And that was the main reason I had done risk management. I had chosen risk management paper.
Strategic move.
Yeah.
How to prepare for amendments?
So regarding amendments, as I've told you, for DT and IDT, I think you have to revise, like you have to join the classes and revise it closer to your examination. But of course, you'll have to learn a lot of amendments. I think regarding the amendments, I had specifically heard the lectures of the faculties where I had joined the classes. So I used to just watch the revision lectures while having lunch or while having dinner, so that my time isn't wasted. And by watching those revision lectures, I had a gist and understanding of what the amendments are. So during our attempt of November 19, there were a lot of amendments in the CGST Act. So there was a new CGST Amendment Act which was bought, and because of which there were a lot of amendments which we had to study. So I think I had watched the revision lectures, and apart from it, I had read the entire RTP. So the RTP contains the amendments at the beginning, and then it contains the questions after the amendments. So I had heard the revision lectures, and at the same time, I had read the entire RTP because there are a lot of amendments which are given in the RTP which are usually not covered by these eminent faculties because they think that these amendments won't be asked in the examination. But trust me, you have to rely on the ICI material and you have to read the entire content of ICI material because ICI can ask you any particular thing, even in the MCQ or in the main paper. So I think reading RTPs and watching some revision lectures would be helpful in order to just have a good gist of amendments which have been covered.
Yeah, these are important, right? You should never skip the amendments.
Exactly. Never. So amendments are of utmost significance.
How many revisions are required to score AIR? All India.
Okay. Yeah. So there's so I think there is no particular answer again. So in my YouTube video, I had just posted last week itself that how to get a rank in 2 revisions. So frankly, I had revised only a couple of times, and I had revised the entire content with a quality reading. So I have told all the CA aspirants that you should focus more on quality reading than the quantity reading. So what is important over here is that when you're reading for the first time, try to ensure that you have to write all the particular main points or all the particular bullet points on the top side of the page of the module or the reference book, whatever you're referring. At the same time, try to ensure during the first reading itself that what you are going to read in the second time. So your markings and your highlighting should be so crisp and so precise that during your second and the last reading of 1.5 days, you know it right 4 months before your exam that I am going to read this particular page and this particular topic from this particular page. So it should be so crisp and precise. This is going to help all of you in terms of revising it in the second and the third time. Now, what usually people say that you have to revise 5 to 6 times, 6 to 7 times in order to get a rank. I don't agree at all. I think that even if you revise it a couple of times or 3 times, that is going to be more than beneficial if you are revising it very effectively and very efficiently. So just ensure this particular thing that you are doing effective study, and at your first revision itself, you ensure that the second and the third revision contains the crisp and the summarized version of what I have read during my first time. So this would be the answer.
Okay, quantity doesn't matter, quality
matters. Exactly.
Good. Should we solve mock test? If yes, when? An ICI mock test series will be preferred or mock test of other providers?
So definitely you should solve mock test papers. I think mock test would give you an edge in terms of how you should write the paper and whether you are able to solve the paper in the 3 hours of allotted time, how you should read the 15 minutes reading time effectively so that you are able to allot the questions which you are going to answer. So I would be of the view that you should strictly solve at least one mock test series of all the 8 subjects before going for your CA final or CA intermediate leave. Apart from this, I am of the view that if you get time, you should solve at least 2 mock tests of ICI series itself. Now, I wouldn't recommend joining any private test series. The main reason is that ICI can ask you questions from any particular page, as I've told you. Now, what these private test series usually do is that they just take the past attempt questions which ICI has been asking, and they only put some major questions which ICI has been asking in their test series. I'm of the view that this is not going to help because if some new questions come up in the examination, then you wouldn't know how to solve that particular question. So therefore, I would recommend that join ICI mock test series itself. If you have time, try to give try to give 2 mock test series. That would be more than helpful. If you don't have time, try to give at least 1 mock test series, writing it down and timing yourself for 3 hours.
So the main conclusion is we should rely on ICAI mock test.
Yeah, yeah.
How to handle stress, anxiety, etc. during the preparation and while writing the exam. Main thing. This was
Okay.
asked by
So
many of the students.
yeah. So during the preparation, I would suggest that you should stay in touch with a particular hobby. Now, the importance of staying in touch with a particular hobby comes up when you are studying for 12, 13 hours in a day. So you would be frustrated. Frankly, I was also frustrated by studying for so much longer hours. And at one point of time, you would feel that I'll give up now and I'm not able to study anymore. So in order to avoid this and in order to kill this procrastination, which usually happens in a mind of a CA student, you should stay in touch with a particular hobby. So if you really want to like play some musical instrument like guitar or keyboard, if you like to go for a jog or a walk, if you like to play cricket, just go for it. Do it for at least 15 to 20 minutes in your day. And trust me, it is going to rejuvenate your body from top to bottom completely. So frankly speaking, like I used to go for a jog for 15 minutes and I used to go like around 5 p.m. in the evening once my break was there. So I used to go for a jog or a normal walk, and it really used to refresh my mind because I used to feel the freshness of air which is outside my house, and that used to energize me to study back efficiently and effectively. So in order to handle stress during your preparatory leave, stay in touch with a particular hobby and do those things in break time that are going to energize you to study back longer. So don't watch any kind of movie in break time or don't listen to any lyrical music, because what happens is that if you're watching a movie and if you're studying subsequently after watching that movie, in your mind the dialogues or the scenes of that movie would be running again and again. So avoid these kind of things which are going to run in your mind once you go back to your study routine from the break period, and do those things that aren't going to distract you if you're going to study subsequently. Now, regarding the stress during your examination, just have this thought in your mind that you have literally exploited yourself for the last 4 hours, last 4 months. I'm sorry. So in the last 4 months, you have studied so much for these 3 hours to go very smooth and very efficient. So just don't panic at all and keep this thought that you have literally exploited the last 4 months. If I calculate the number of hours, it would be huge for these 3 hours itself. And therefore, you have to keep this thought that I have exploited myself so much, so I have to ensure that these 3 hours are going to be one of the best hours of my life. So even if you don't understand or even if you aren't able to solve a particular question, I would recommend that keep that question at the end. Solve those questions which you are confident about. Impress the examiner at the outset itself so that he checks your other questions with a different mindset and with this mindset that this particular person has come prepared as compared to other person. So you can handle stress in your examination with this mindset and attitude only. Just don't be panicked even if you don't know any particular answer to a question, because this is going to create danger if you are going to be panicked. If you are going to get panicked, then you are just like you won't be able to complete the paper at the first hand, and secondly, you wouldn't be able to solve those questions with so much of accuracy had you not been panicked.
Stay calm
Yeah,
during that
exactly. Stay
situation.
calm.
Just give it
Absolutely.
a solution, right? So,
Yes.
what should be the 1 month strategy? This is the question which is so relevant. एक
Hmm.
ही महीना है, so how to
So yeah,
yeah
1 month strategy. I think 1 month strategy would depend upon your preparation in the last 3.5 to 4 months during your CA final leave or intermediate leave or foundation leave. Regarding the CA final, for the last 1 month strategy, I am of the view that not only for CA final but for intermediate as well. In the last 1 month, what you should do is that you should study the subjects in reverse order. I am of the view that I used to study IDT, then DT, then elective, then costing. So in the reverse order, because FR paper is the first, so that I have 6 or 7 days for FR paper. The main reason why I'm emphasizing on reverse order is that it would be better if you study in the reverse order, because now auditing paper you would be studying somewhere around 18th or 19th of October or 15th 16th October. So you would you would memorize this particular topic and you would be able to recall it much better had you studied this particular subject in the first half of October month. So theoretical subjects, I am of the view that the closer to the examination, that is better. Now there would be one question that DT and IDT, if I'm doing it at the first half of October, will I be able to recall them? So the reason I'm telling you to do it in the first half is that, as I've told you, you have to revise the curriculum from the first month itself in the same order of the examination. So FR audit, SFM law. So in the first 4 months, you are revising DT and IDT towards the end of the fourth month. So you're getting this particular point. So therefore, this is a benefit that if you're revising DT and IDT towards the end of the last fourth month, you should revise it in the first half of the first month of the last month itself, so that that goes in synchronization. And therefore, you would be able to recall DT and IDT provisions also in those 1.5 days once again.
तो जो भी टाइम टेबल है उसके रिवर्स ऑर्डर में करेंगे
Yes.
ताकि वो रिवीजन क्लोज रहे एग्जाम के साथ, राइट?
Right. So first 3 months go in the same order. Like first 4 months, if you have a 5 month leave period, it would go as like this. So first 4 months go in the same order of ICI subject wise. In the last month, go in the reverse order. This is the crux.
Okay. So the next is we have really received many questions related to audit. So can you please suggest a plan specifically for audit?
So plan specifically for audit, if I were to share, so I would recommend you to read the modules. Now modules, I don't mean the ICI pronouncement. That is of course very thick booklet. Don't read that particular book, but try to read all the 3 modules given by ICI for CA final at least. And even for CA intermediate, I read the modules. The reason why I'm telling you to read modules is that ICI nowadays is asking questions right from any corner of the module. And trust me, you wouldn't find these type of questions in any reference book which you have bought. So my friends had bought reference book of Pankaj Garg, they had bought scanners, they had also bought some other authors reference book which contained all the past attempt questions. But these type of questions which ICI is asking nowadays, you wouldn't find it any particular reference book. I can give you an example. In my attempt, ICI had asked question on what is the difference between Schedule 3, Division 2 and Division 3. That is NBFC and normal companies adopting Ind AS in their format. And this was given in the last page of the ICI module. So you wouldn't find this particular question in any reference book as such. And therefore, I'm telling you to focus more on modules. Now in modules also, you would find there are a lot of bullet points given on multiple pages. So try to ensure that you at least memorize the keywords given in these bullet points, because ICI is going to ask questions from these bullet points itself. They won't ask questions based on some longer paragraphs, because think from the examiner's perspective. He wouldn't be willing to read a long paragraph for checking your answer. He would be of the view that if I get some bullet point or short, crisp answer so that I can compare it with your model answers, he would feel happier. And therefore, this is my analysis that ICI is asking questions from the bullet points rather than the longer paragraphs. So try to memorize the bullet points given in the ICI module. And apart from it, try to refer some drone charts of some eminent faculties. I had referred Sarthak Jain's drone charts for auditing, and they were helpful for me because I was able to memorize all the concepts which were given in those drone charts. So I was able to literally handpick where this particular provision was given on which chart, which side of the chart. So pictographic memory always works, and try to create your own charts. If you don't have time to create your own charts, try to refer some author's charts so that they would be helpful in terms of memorizing.
This tips and trick will help
Yes.
for audit. Yeah.
Right.
How to prepare and write answers of study-based questions. Again, you think कोई ऐसे model questions नहीं है हमारे पास में, ना ही model answers है जिससे हम prepare कर सके student. So how should we prepare for study-based question, and how should we
study-based as in case study-based questions you're trying to ask?
Yes.
Okay.
Case study-based questions.
So regarding the case study-based questions, like case study-based questions, they are asked in the elective paper, and now MCQ portion also contain the case study-based questions. Regarding the elective paper, I would be throwing some light upon it. So I had what I had done during my elective paper case study-based questions. I first read all the questions which were given. So question 1, question 2, question 3, what these questions are asking, and then I read the case study. So if any question has been asked directly from the module, I know that this is irrelevant to the case study, and therefore I'm going to solve this question first because this is not related to the case study. Sorry. So basically, do this particular thing. If any question is not related to the case study, ensure that you solve this question because you are going to score high marks as this has been asked from the module directly. And I am of the view that solving these kind of questions is going to fetch more marks as compared to solving those questions which involve a lot of case study analysis. Now, regarding the case study based MCQ portion, like in my attempt, I did not have case study based MCQ portion as such, but I would recommend you to focus on ICI modules itself. More or less the case study based MCQs, they are also asking you what kind of, like, what is your understanding of this case study. So what you should do, just quickly read the case study. First, read the question, what the question is asking. you know this question is asking this particular thing, and then read the case study so that you know where this particular point has been written and what is the implication of this point on the questions asked. So I'm of the view that read the question first, then read the case study, and at the same time, while reading the case study, try to mark whatever has been asked in the question. So kind of underline it by a pencil or just highlight it so that you know that this has been asked in the question.
Okay, good. The next is, should we study a single subject entire day, or we go for multiple subjects and divide the day into those multiple subjects?
Ideally, you should go for two subjects. As I've told you, I had gone for FR audit, then SFM and law. So you should go for one practical and one theoretical subject. If you ask me personally, if you're a morning studier, then you should study a theoretical subject in the morning. I used to study a theoretical subject. So during the first half of my routine, I used to study a theoretical subject for 6 hours. And then I used to switch for a practical subject during the second half post lunch. So usually what happens post lunch, people tend to sleep, like they tend to be sleepy. And that's the main reason I'm telling that you should do a practical subject in the second half. Like at the time you wake up, I think you are afresh, your mind is very much fresh in order to just memorize the things and understand the things. So that's the main reason you should do theoretical subjects in the morning and practical subjects during the second half of the day. So this should be the strategy that two subjects per day would work. And in the last month, you should go for one subject for 4 to 5 days in the reverse order.
Okay. We have received a question. So if you can just brief out a little bit about industrial training. Should we do
Yeah.
industrial training or not? Just a brief out.
Yeah, sure. So I am of this view that we should definitely do industrial training. If someone asks me that what mistake you have done in your life, I would tell that I did not go for industrial training. That is the biggest mistake which I've done in my CA journey. The reason why I'm telling this is that I now realize what is the significance of industrial training. If someone wants to get into an industry like these companies which hire, or management consulting or investment banking also, these companies look for candidates who have gone for industrial training because they are of the mindset that these like this particular candidate already knows how an industry works as compared to other candidates who has just done his articleship from a mid-size or a big four. So I am of the view that industrial training would help in order to groom your personality, in order to understand how a typical industry works, so that you have an edge in your resume as compared to other candidates. But remember one thing, that if you are pursuing industrial training, you shouldn't compromise your CA final academics. So I always advise that getting a rank in CA finals and pursuing articleship from a mid-sized firm is much better than not getting a rank in CA finals and pursuing industrial training. So you shouldn't compromise on your CA final rank if you are doing industrial training. This shouldn't happen that you only got 3 months and therefore you didn't do well in your CA finals. So if remember one thing, that if you really want to go for an industrial training, try to prepare right from the first day of your articleship itself and try to ace in your CA finals as well. This is going to be one of the best resume if you get a rank and if you're doing an industrial training as well.
Okay. Okay. So the last question, what should be the 1 year strategy? How should we sum up the things? How should we end things in a way that we score an AIR?
1 year as in like 1 year
From the
prior to your
exam.
CA final attempt.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't define any 1 year strategy as such because I was like I was finishing off with my classes itself. What I can see here is that you should try to finish off your classes before your leave period. If you're getting a leave of 5 months, try to ensure that you finish off all the 8 subjects classes 5 months prior to your examination. That is prior to your leave period. This is going to help you in terms of doing self study for 5 or 4 straight months. So in the last 4 months, just ensure that you don't end up attending any classes. I'm of the view that self study is more important than attending any classes in those last 4.5 months of CA final leave. So this should be the strategy ideally, that you should finish up your classes 4.5 months prior to your exam. And during the last 4.5 months, you should completely focus on self study itself.
Those revision time is very much important.
Yes.
If we have that time, so we should go through the entire time over there. Don't go for the classes in that time.
Yeah, in
But
that time, don't attend any particular lectures because reading is much better than listening. In terms of memorizing, also effective reading is much better than effective listening, because at the same time, if you are reading, you are reiterating that particular thing in your mind, and therefore reading, like focus on reading in the last 4.5 months rather than listening to a particular faculty.
very informative. Thank you. So
problem.
offer of guiding us for scoring an AIR, of sharing your secret with us, for like scoring an AIR. Hope all the participants have got their secret. Will implement these things, these small tips and tricks to score an AIR. And all the best. Thank you for joining the program, and all the best for your exams. Stay healthy and be blessed. Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me on the platform. It was really a great experience for me as well to guide several CA aspirants. So if you want to ask any particular questions or if there is any particular query unanswered, I think you can just connect with me on LinkedIn. So I'll just, or you can email me. I'll just share my email ID in the chat box so that you can text me on my email ID itself.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So we are going to end the meeting now.
Yeah, so I have just posted my email ID. Just confirm if it is visible.
Anyone can confirm? Okay, I'll confirm.
Yep. Yeah, it's visible. All right.
It's visible. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you so much. All the best for your examinations.